Hi everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. We are officially starting our GCP Bole Season 4 Code Along webinar event. Thank you to all who are here tuning into our session, and it's great to see you all here today. And if you have friends that haven't come along yet, you just share the link to the stream share so that they can come along to this webinar. So before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm Vanessa, GDSC lead of Monash University Malaysia, and I will be your host for today. So in this webinar, we will be coding along with our invited speaker to complete one of the quests in the GCP Bole challenge, which is create ML models with BigQuery ML. So first, let me introduce our speaker, Fong. Fong, Fong here is a research enthusiast, particularly on 2D computer vision, 3D computer modeling, and artificial intelligence. Outside of R&D, she loves socializing and getting acquainted with new technology trends. She is Women Tech Makers Kuala Lumpur Community Lead, inspired as a woman in tech, and continues to bring diversity to the stages. So, Fong, would you come along and say hi to our audience here today?
Thanks, Vanessa. Hi, everyone. I hope you all enjoy learning the GCP from this GCP Bole challenge. So today we will try to have another code along session, and we hope that you all can learn something new and having fun learning together.
Thank you so much, Fong. I'm sure we will all be learning a lot today from you as our speaker. And yeah, so before we get started, let's just introduce what GCP Bole is all about. So GCP Bole is a campaign starting from 27 May, ending on 26 June. And this campaign hasn't ended yet. June 26th, it will end. So no worries if this is something you haven't registered for. You can all register before it actually ends on 26th June. So let me give a brief introduction on this campaign. What is hashtag GCP Bole? So GCP Bole is an online self-study program that provides developers in Malaysia with access to hands-on Google Cloud Labs while learning alongside a supportive community of peers. You're able to learn AI, ML, and cloud technology on Google Cloud platforms with 1 month of free access to Google Cloud Skills Boost. So why should you be a part of GCP Bole? So the first reason, as I said before, you can get 1 month of free access to Google Cloud Skills Boost platform. And secondly, you can score cool GCP swags. For example, if you complete at least 6 quests, you will get a t-shirt and a water bottle. And if you complete at least 14 quests, you will get a t-shirt, a towel, gym bag, and also a water bottle. So other than these 2 perks, you're able to actually learn a lot from this challenge. You can take all the quests, as many quests as you want in the given time, 1 month of free access. You're able to learn so much from this challenge. So yeah, so this is the list of quests to complete. You can complete at least 6 quests to score a cool swag pack, but there are tracks. There's the AI ML track, cloud technology track, and there are so many quests that you can go through and complete within this month. And if you complete 6 quests by 26 June, you're able to score the cool swag pack that we shared just now. So yeah, that's a very good thing that you can, a very good challenge for you all to try out before 26 June. So yes, perhaps I'll just share the link to register for GCP Bole event in the comments. Let me post it in the comments. Yeah. So you guys, for those who haven't registered for the event, for this GCP Bole challenge, go ahead and register with the link in the comment section. And for today, we will be going through the specific quest, which is create ML models with BigQuery ML. So in this quest, you're able to create machine learning models, create a classification model, create a forecasting model, and implement a chatbot using Dialogflow for dynamic real-time responses. So yeah, So I'll just post the link to today's quest in the comment section as well, so that you guys can have the link to it. I believe it's been posted. And yeah, let's get started. I will pass the time now to Fong, who will be our speaker and teacher for today. So I'll pass the time to Fong. Okay.
Thanks, Vanessa. So I'll be just wait for like 30 seconds or so that you all can be ready in the same quest or same lab that as I do right now. So the quest that we are going through is this create ML models with BigQuery. It's the 146 quest. I think Vanessa already shared the link. So once you get into this quest, you just need to log in to to the email or account that you have signed up. So then we will work on the first lab, the getting started with BigQuery machine learning. So this is the lab here. So before we start to do the coding and all right, maybe we can have a brief idea on what is this BigQuery machine learning is. So for a lot of tabular data, like maybe like the sales order and all, we can actually create a prediction model or classification model based on the data that we collected from the database, and we can use BigQuery to create or generate a machine learning model. So let's get started. Before I start the lab here, right, I will also go through a little bit on what this lab is about. Basically, this getting started with BigQuery machine learning is getting the data from this Google Machine Store, which is this one. I have a very nice, cool Google merchandise. And based on all this Google Analytics data that collected from this website, like what is the end user traffic coming from, which country they are coming from, which link they are visiting, and maybe like how long they are visiting a certain page. And then from there, also, of course, the important thing is what are the purchase of the end user, and are they actually coming for a repurchase next time. So before that, I'll be also pausing a little bit while so that you all can catch up on this if you have not reached this part. So what we will try to do here is, if for those who already started the GCP OLE challenge, this one I think is very you should be very familiar on this step already. You just click the start lab session, and then you can have a username and password given out for this particular lab session. So what you need to do is you just click on this open console, and you just copy this username. You just sign up as this Quick Labs account, and you can use the password given. So make sure you don't sign in using your own personal email account here. You won't be able to access this. Right. So when you have reached this part, you just click on the agreement. The email updates, you can just ignore it. Agree to continue. So let's see. This I think this is what I have gone through, explained a little bit also just now. So here this is the part that we will first get started. So we will go for the BigQuery. So what you do is you click from the menu here, you just click for the BigQuery. So when you see this welcome page, you just click done. So now we are in the BigQuery page already. So next is the very first task. We want to create a data set. But before that, let me also go through what is the data set that we are going to use for this time. So let me see. Right, what you can do here is click on this add data, pin a project, enter the project name. You just type the BigQuery public data. Just pin it. So once it's done, right, you can see this BigQuery public data is added on your Explorer side. So if you expand this part, you can see there are a lot of publicly available data set. I think some of this data set is used by different labs also. Actually, you can take a look or explore what are the data set available in this BigQuery public data. So the data that we are going to use today is Google Analytics. Something Google Analytics. Yeah, this one. Google Analytics sample. So we will be for this lab session, all of the BigQuery query, right, will be based on this data set. So let's take a look, right, on this GA sections. So here it's actually already, if you see this 366, right, actually this is this data set is being partitioned, or yeah, there are 366 partitions data. So what does it mean, right? You have the same set of data, but this one is partitioned by the month. So if you click on here, right, you can see like it actually started from 2016. It started to collect the data. August 2016, and then the latest data available is 2017 in August as well. I think the August one is not fully completed. It's end of July. That's why later in the query, right, you will see we are actually putting the timestamp in between 2016 August and 2017 August or July. Right. So this is about this. So next let's explore a little bit more what is inside this data set or this table. So as you can see, we can go to the schema here. These are the fields that are available in this table or data set. So you can see like we have the total of receipts, and then how many clicks the end user clicking, how many page they are exploring and all. And then also we have something on the traffic source, or could be, I think I saw somewhere is the source, or the location of the end user and some other things, or is it coming from an ads or something like that. Then also they are also collecting some data regarding the device. about what it, are they, if the end user is browsing from the web browser, or it's actually from mobile phone or things like that. So there are a lot of interesting data in this data set actually. On this one, I think the geo network is on the end user location. Yeah, you can go through into details, but I just roughly explain a little bit. The hits one is more on like what is the time that the end user is spending, you know. So I think the details, I just give a very the summary of this table, like when it's being created and what are the size of the table, and then if you want to know what are the examples, right, from this schema, this is actually the schema is this is sorry, let me, it's not showing. Yeah, all these field names, right, basically is this one, the first row. So these are the preview. From the preview we can see some sample data from all these tables. So you can actually see what is being collected and what the sample value that is being collected. So, yep, I won't go into everything in details, but you can explore on your own, and or maybe if you work on some other BigQuery public data set, right, you can actually explore the data set before you start the labs, so that you can understand better what you are trying to do in the lab session. Yeah. So this is all about this part. Right. Yep. Okay. Now back to the very first part. So first step, after exploring all this data set, a brief introduction on what is inside the data set, right? Let's do the real work. So first step is we want to create a data set. So back to here, I will stop this. So just click that on the three dots of your user account, not the BigQuery public data here. You will see this create data set. What is the name of the data set? So it's BigQuery ML lab. In the data set ID, you just type in BQML underscore lab. The data location is basically where you want to store your data set. But you can leave it until it will set as default, or you can choose the location nearby your place. So you just click create. So you can see here the BigQuery lab is created. It's very, very fast. So you can actually see it here. If you expand this one, right, you can already see the dataset is created. But of course, currently it's just an empty dataset. Don't have any table inside, right? Cool. So we have done the very first step. Right. Then let's see if we just do a check on the test completed task. Yeah, it's done, and I think the marks will be show in here. As you progress along, you will be the marking score will be updated. Right. Now, here is the interesting part. So, what we want to do right now is for the coming task, right, is to create a model that predicts whether a visitor will make a transaction. That means, will they be making order or purchase something from the website? Based on all these different, I posted already, different data collected previously. So we will just be using the sample SQL command here, but I will go through the explanation on what it's trying to do and what it's trying to achieve and what is the reasoning behind. So here, right, you can just copy this part. Actually, right, I think I can show you how it gets started. But maybe later. We will just copy this part first. What we will do here is this is the BigQuery lab. You can create the editor here and you can just paste this part first. Let me try to find the Google dataset. Then you can see what it's actually trying to do. Otherwise, it's just copy paste, right? This one, Google Analytics sample, this dataset that we just now we're trying to look at. So actually, if tips lah, if we are in here, right, if you do some challenge lab or something, right, you can actually explore doing some query A1. Let's say I want to see total of visit. You click on all this schema, right? It will actually auto link you to a query one. So let me close this part first to save the space. Let's see. So yeah, it's already giving you the syntax of what is the data set and the table using now. So then from here, this can be a very good starting point for you to proceed or explore all things, doing some own queries to find out, to do the EDA, what is inside your data. But then let's go back to this part, right? So what this, can I just paste this part? Please see here if we see this side by side. Right. So what it's trying to do here, right? It's very similar to just now. We are selecting. These are the fields that we want to use as a feature or the input for our model training later. So sure. Then from the table, just now this part, right, it's directly linked to this here already. But because we want to do the model training across all the months and right. So this is the wildcard lah. You can just use the asterisk. Then whatever it match the first part, right, it will be also included in. But then we also can still try to narrow down or be more specific. Then we can put in the table suffix between this part. So 16, the very beginning is data is from August, and then the end of it is 17. Currently, it's using until June only lah. So but if you are keen, you can actually try to change the different timeline and all to see what are the differences and all. But for the purpose of the lab, we will just use the SQL commands that is being given. So this part I already explained. Then on this part, right, what are the information or the data that we use to create this prediction model. Of course, you again, all these feature selection you can for if you are curious or you want to explore more, right? You can actually use different features. I think this is in the next lab, the second or the third lab. When you create two models and all to try to improve the model performance, right? You are actually putting more features inside. So if you are interested or curious, you can actually try to select some other feature that you think could be giving produce a better ML model. So what it is using here is the total transaction. It's actually here, the total transaction. You can actually see what is the sample value here. So here for the the transaction here, right? You already can see it's a null. Some of the data, that means it's possible for this transaction, there's a null value, meaning there's no input collected or data collected. You can also see this from the schema. If the mood is nullable, meaning that it's acceptable to have a null. If it's not, then you will be can safely or confidently say that this data there won't be any null value and things like that. It's very important here because for if it's a null value, right, then it will there are missing data in a way lah. It could be impacting your model accuracy. So normally this is also part of the data pre-processing or EDA. So what we will try to achieve here is if the total transaction is null, then we'll just put in data permutation. You can just put it as a 0 or 1. And then this is a label is just instead of a long name, right, total transaction, we just put it as a label there. So this is the label that is actually giving the classification result. Is it there's a transaction or there's none transaction? So 0 is meaning there's no transaction. 1 is meaning there's transaction. So then same things for the device operating system. So if it's null, we will just put it as an empty string because this operating system is basically a string. The data type is a string. Device operating system. Device operating system. So it's a string. Yeah. So then, so there are 5 features that we are looking at: total transaction, device operating system, device, is it a mobile or web browser or some other source, and then the geo network country, the end user location, the total of page view. So this is what we are using it to create our model. So the next part is on these options, right? We know that we want to create a model. So this BigQuery ML _ lab, right, basically is the data set that you not showing. Yeah. This data set that you have created. If you use different naming, then you need to put update here as well. So the model title will be, or the model name will be sample model. So for this scenario, we are actually using it's actually a logistic regression model. It's a classification model whereby we want to predict is the user doing a purchase or transaction or not. So it's a classification scenario. Let's try to run this part. Expected of input, but log reset one. Maybe I accidentally change some things and make an error there. So after you click the run, right, it's already generating the model, and it's just taking maybe 1-2 minutes. And because I didn't show the total data set, it's actually having 800,000 data, but for the purpose of this lab, and also we want to use some of the data maybe for later evaluation and all, right, we just use the 100,000 for the model training. So you can see it's already completed. I think maybe we don't need this part already. Let me expand this part. So if you see that, right, is it already? Oh, if you can see the spinning circle, meaning it's still creating. Once it's done, you will see the updates model performance and all. Yeah. Right. So far, so good. I hope you can understand better what is the query is trying to do. Although it's a copy paste, but we want to also understand what it's trying to achieve here. So right, cool. Now we already have the model. The name is sample model. So we can go to a model, or you can already see it here. If you click, it will just display the details here. So you can see, and it's actually saved under this BigQuery ML lab data set. Now let's go to this sample model, right? So the model type is a logistic regression, is a classification model, and then I think these are the parameters being set when the BigQuery ML is trying to create the model. So let's look at the training tab. You can see a loss value here. I think it can reach training loss is 0.045, evasion is 0.042. It's quite okay. And then the duration, this is the view as graph, right? Or if you depends on personal preference, you can also switch it to tabular, the table format. Then you can directly see the value here. Yeah, if you would like to have a more visualization how well the training rate or the learning rate is, then it's easier to visualize it in the graph mode. If you want to know the exact value per iteration, you can look at the table part. So then the evaluation, here is the different metrics that is being collected during the training time. So we have the precision recall by threshold, the precision recall curve. All this you can all this glossary, right? If you are not sure, there's actually, I can share the link later on. these are the metrics normally we use to evaluate the model performance. And also one of the example also is the confusion matrix. You can see it's doing very well. The during the evaluation, the predicted label, why how to read this is if the label, the total transaction, the real data is a 1 and the model is predicting as 1 and it's 100% predicting correctly. So, but if it's the true label is 1, but the model predict it as 0, that means it's doing a wrong prediction. But from this confusion matrix, we know that it's doing a 100% prediction, correct prediction. Same thing for the 0. If the real value is the end user is not doing any purchase, but the model is predicting the same things, then you can see it from the confusion matrix here. So very informative actually. Once the model is being generated, right, you can directly collect all this information already, and of course the metrics are also available here. You can also see what is some brief description about the metrics being used. So it's very powerful and very convenient for data scientists. Now let's go back to long story short. Important thing is let's try to see how we are doing in the lab. So we can just check on the test computer. Once you have the model generated, right, this one should be already completed. If you have facing errors just now, like what I have accidentally done, right, you just copy paste the SQL and rerun it, then it should be fine. But I think it's very important to understand what is the output from the model being trained. So now I think this part I already covered during the walkthrough just now. I think it's the very same things. So I will skip this part. So the next part, right, is so we have generate a model. All right, then now the next step on next workflow is we want to know how well the model is really performing, right? So let me just copy this SQL first, and then I can just there are two ways. You can either you can either clean up the query from your previous editor, or you can just open a new editor using this plus sign. And I can just paste this here. So having some ideas or some introduction from the previous query task, right? I think we can easily go through this part for the evaluation. What is the difference here is that here we are calling ml.evaluate. This is for the evaluation. We are just calling this ml.evaluate instead. And then we just select the model is the one that generated from our previous query. This model name. So for the first query is create or replace. You can also just do the create model, but if you already have this model available in your data set, right, then you will have a problem already. So if we put create or replace, meaning if there's existing model with the same name available in the data set, we will just replace the model after that. So also notice that these 5 features that we use in the model training, right, are the very same features that we are using for our model evaluation. This part should be the same things. So then let's see. Let's just try to run this. Yeah, it's so very actually very fast now. You can directly getting the evaluation metrics out already. Before we go to the details of all these metrics, right? I forgot to highlight that. I'm not sure if you also noticed that actually when we do the evaluation, we are selecting these two timeline, July and August, which is not in our training. During the training, we start from the very beginning, but we end until June. So all this data during the evaluation, right? These are the data that is for sure not the same data being used for the model training. So this is a very important concept here. We shouldn't use the same data in model training for the model evaluation, because somehow the model is already knowing the data, right? Then it's actually giving a false evaluation. So we should try to use some new data that is never seen or never been trained during the model training. So let's come back to here. Because this model is actually logistic regression model, is a classification model, right? So the matrix, regression matrix is given, produced, all right, is actually the precision, recall, accuracy, advanced score, and logistic loss, and also ROC, AUC. So there are different scenarios or different use case. We'll look at different metrics, but more or less it will giving you some ideas. The accuracy, I think, is pretty high already. The 0.98. It has a okay precision, but the recall is not so good. But anyway, this is just a sample model, right? So then next thing, after all this done, right, in our ML process, next thing will be like, this is our base model performance. How can we improve our model so that we can achieve a higher precision or higher recall and things like that. Okay, so once this is done, there are some other let's say metrics value will be produced if we are doing the linear regression model. Linear regression model basically is is a continuous value. Example is, what is the let's say our petrol RON 97 price for next week. It's a value, then it's a linear regression model. Cool. Now let's check our task completion. So cool, nice. We are done with the evaluation. I think this should be the last step. So then now, let's say we already satisfied with this model, right? We want to use this model after the evaluation. We think that this model is performing okay, and we want to use it to do the prediction, right? So this is the next step. Let's go for let's query. Let's run it first, then I explain to save the time. So very similar. I think you can already see this part. So this is the selecting. We are using in the very same features for our model prediction in real data, the new data. Then, so what we are interested here is, let's say we want to know the country and then the total predicted purchase. Here you can also notice that for this, excuse me, for this lab query, right? When we do the prediction, it's very simple. It's actually, instead of model train or model evaluate, we just call model predict. But of course, we just select the model. If let's say later you generate another new model with some other this one is wrong, some other features, right? You put it as model 2. You can actually do the model comparison. Then here, when you do the prediction, you just select which model having the highest performance or accuracy. So here, after running the query, right, this is because we are already order the result in a descending manner, means that the highest purchase A country is on top. The first one is actually from US, and there are 158 total predicted purchase. So you can take a look on the list. But this one is only limited to 10. But I think it's it's also not so meaningful after the 10, because it's quite a big difference already. Other country, apart from the US, Canada, and Taiwan, is very, very minimal purchase order only. So it's popular in US, but not on maybe like Asia or some other countries. Maybe because of the shipment and or. So next. Okay. Oh, there's another prediction. Same things are. We will be using the sim model. Can you please first? We're using the same model, but this time we want to know the visitor ID. You can actually, let's say, what's this? Just a miss error. You can actually query whatever you would like to know more on full visitor ID. So this time, actually want to see the same person and how many purchase they are actually doing. So yeah, that's about it. So if you are also curious and want to explore more, right? I think you can actually from this data set you can see whatever information you want to know. You can do some other prediction from here, since you already know what is inside the data set or table. Then, yeah, cool. So once we are completed, right, you can already see this one is already 100%. So you are actually successfully completing this this lab. So yeah, just if you're already done, then you can just end the lab earlier. It doesn't matter. But if you if you doesn't have enough time, right, you just need to restart the lab, because for now you are having 1 month unlimited access, so you can do that. So test your understanding, a very quick quiz. BigQuery is fully managed enterprise data warehouse that enable super fast SQL queries. As you can see from the demo or walkthrough just now, right? It's actually very fast. But I cannot click it already. Yeah. Still can. I thought I need to start the deck, then only can see. Yeah, it's very very fast, right? It's very very fast to process. Yep, I think that's all for the session. I hope you all learn something new during the walkthrough. Although it's a very basic lab, but once you know how you can access the data and do the EDA on your own and all right, you can extend your exploration or your learning from there, even for other labs. Some similar one for visitor purchase, then you can this one you will be create different models using different features to do the model compare and reason and all. You can continue from here. I think you will have more funds if you know what is going on in the background. Right. Cool. Yeah, I think more or less the time. Vanessa, I think maybe I can pass back to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lai Fong. We really appreciate your session. Um, for such an enlightening and entertaining teaching and code along session for our quest today. We appreciate having your advice and teaching what we coded along with you. So likewise, we hope everyone here has been having a very fun learning experience with Lai Fong while coding along the quest today. So yeah, now we will move on to our Q&A session. Before we officially close our live webinar, we will just accept a few questions and have Lai Fong answer them if you have any questions. So go ahead, type it in the live chat so that we can see some of the questions you guys might have for our speaker today. Okay. Go ahead, guys, and put your questions if you have any in the chat. Okay, there is a question here. Any advice on how to deal with a data set with more than 30% missing values for the variable?
Whoa, 30% is quite a lot, yeah. Yeah, I think then it depends on the scenarios, right? This one, maybe you will have a model that the performance will be not so good. I think there are different ways of handling missing data. Like just now, what we in the example just now, right? You can just put in a data permutation. You can just put like a default value. If it's missing, what will be the value? But then to determine what is the value just now, right? There are different approach to do that. You need to study a bit on how to handle missing data. And it really depends. Like let's say it can be using like the string, right? If you don't know, we can just put it as an empty string. But also there can be a scenario that's, for example, just now. Let me give an example. Let's say the the country code is a string, right? If it's a null value, right? If let's say the objective of your model is you want to do the prediction in certain countries, then maybe you just a one country, US and all, and you know all this data is actually collected from US or Malaysia, then although it's a null value, you can already put a default value. Even it's a now, I know it's actually from Malaysia or something like that. Then from there you can have a slightly better one model, but 30% actually is quite a lot. The other things is it really depends how you are getting the data. I think it's also important to check it what is the reasoning the all this the variable is having a null value. If let's say it's having the data is example is collected from a survey form, right? I know this is very important for my model training. Instead of just open it as an optional answer, the user can choose answer or not answer. You just make it as a require, force the user to answer it. So then you will reduce the all these null scenarios, especially for all these important features. But of course, if you don't have the luxury to in the data collecting pipeline, you may want to consider is there other features that is equally important, or if this is really you need to evaluate your model if all this missing data, right? How well or how badly it's impacting your the model that you created. I think 30% quite a lot. Or if it's a by time one, you may want to have a time zone that is having lesser missing data and all. There are different ways. That's why in ML we always need to have creative thinking and try explore different methods and also see which is working better. Yeah, I think that's from a few things suggestion from me lah. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Lai Fong. Another question we have is how do we maintain a deployed model?
How to maintain a deploy model? This part is actually tricky. Again, I'm not too sure from what is the background or infrastructure that that the participant is asking from. If let's say if it's from the crowd already, maybe it's good to utilize the crowd infrastructure to do the model monitoring and all. So on all this part, right? Again, it's actually a very big topic. It's called ML ops. As part of all this. Yeah. Normally, again, it depends on different company. They may have special teams or to handle all this model deployment and all. So the important thing is we need to also set up a model monitoring system so that we know if the model is not performing because of new changes, or let's say suddenly the of all these world war or scenarios and all, the petrol price get boost up and all. So then our previous model is not doing a good performance because of a new event coming up and all, right? We need to update our model and all. So we need to have that set up. But it's a big topic. ML and try to look at the ML ops. You will find a lot of information there.
Yep, that's right. Thanks, Lai Fong. A question from Omar in the live chat. If 30% is a lot for missing values in a data set, what's the minimum value?
Of course, this part is as minimal as possible, but it's also kind of impossible in reality. It really depends on what is the total value that you total data that you use for your model training. Let's say, right, example just now, if you have just now 800,000, then 30% of this, and you are using half of this, then it may not seem making a big difference there. But if your total of data used for your model training is, let's say, it's only 1,000 transaction and things like that, then you will directly see the difference already. All this missing value will have a big impact, especially if you when doing the data permutation, you are not setting a good prediction for your default values. Let's say if your the purchase is purchase total purchase, let's say in terms of money, is is between let's say 10 ringgit to 5,000. But if how are we going to, which value that we want to use? You can use a median value, or you can use the default zero or higher, or things like that. All these different values being set, right? You will see you will getting different results in your model next time, because it is all this is just you can say think it as a guessing value. So it really depends on how close all this guessing is compared to the real life data. So there's always a risk there. 30% is, to me, is quite a lot, especially if you are doing not a very big data. So try to minimize it as much as possible. I think a good one would be around 10, 20 already. It kind of okay, but yeah, 30, I think to me is quite a lot. I won't say that you cannot use it or totally bad, but it's something that you need to be careful on already. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Fong. We have another question. How can outlier values be treated? Yep.
Ooh, yeah, all these outliers values be treated right. Again, this one, there are different methods also. One example is that you can, if you have a lot of data, you can, you already identified which are the data that has the outlier. It depends if you exclude all these outlier data, you just use the data within the range, not the outliers one, and you have enough for the data training, then that would be the best. If not, and if you don't have enough data, and all these outlier data, you still want to try to use it as an input, right? Then again, you need to do a lot more analysis, like what will be the range data that is acceptable. You can use you call it median or some other values to to set the outlier, put into your range data with the range. Or it can also be there won't be a very direct answer on all this. It really depends. You need to know the data well enough, or do a lot of analysis. If the outliers data is actually very little, let's say only one outlier in your 1,000 data, it's actually okay if you just put in the outlier data. You won't see the effect. So there are a lot of factors that are causing the decision, So that's why it's very important. To code it is not that difficult, but you need to understand well your data well, and why you are making all these decisions. If you want to exclude the outlier, what are you trying to achieve? Or if you include, and what is the reasoning you include, and you think that, but of course you need to cross check later. It's, if you include the outlier data in, and you are actually not impacting your model performance, there's a lot of experience you need to try on to get the answer. So it's not always the same answer for all the different scenarios or different data and all. So every time you just need to repeat the whole steps to know your data better.
Yeah. It depends on like the algorithm that you're using also.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why a lot of all these things, right? You need to understand the concept or the reasoning behind, so that you when you do the project hands on, right? You know the reasons, and like otherwise, right? When you train the model, right? If you don't have any code errors, right, you will definitely get the model out one. But then the problem is, how is your model performing, and why do you think that? And are you able to prove that, and make it a very robust model and all? That is the mm, the interesting part, and also the challenge part, lah.
Yeah, agree. Thanks, Lai Fong, for the answer to that question. There's a follow-up question by Alien Workshop. He says, does ML enable me to distinguish average, as in median, mean, mode being used in statistics? Not not too sure what this means
This
exactly.
will enable me to distinguish areas as in statistics. Can't really understand that, but I think, does it mean that it's the question asking, is all this median, mean, or mode being used, the average is it the same in or not?
Mm, mm. Yeah, perhaps for outlier values. Yeah,
Yeah,
missing.
um, I think that it depends what is your objective, or what are you trying to interpret from all these values. In some cases, it could be the more or less the same things, or it could be totally different. You should only use, let's say, the median, but not the mean, and or the mode. It will give a different meaning if you use a different value. So, but then again, this part, how to say, sorry, but it's really hard to give the direct answer, because it really depends on the data, uh, and like what are the values in all this median, mean, and mode. If let's say all of this value is, let's say, 5.1, 5.2, then it doesn't really that matter. Like it's more or less it's the same things. But if it's a different range, then you need to know which statistical model or algorithm that you are using, and in this statistic model, what is this median, mean, or mode represents. Then that's how you link it, and from there, you can only understand what this value means. So in data science or ML, the application of statistic is not, partially it depends on your daily job. It could be also you need to know all this concept, what it means, and also how to interpret and apply in your ML model training or evaluation. So for in general, it's very difficult for me to explain but I'll try to check if there is someone can do a good explanation of all this. I can share later lah. But nah, sorry, this is how I can share for now lah.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Lai Feng. I think it really depends on the situation of how
Correct.
it's being used between median, mid, and mode. Okay,
And also
there is
the sorry.
there's yeah, there's a question from Isaac that just came in. What are the recipes for a good ML, and what should we avoid? I assume it's good ML model, and what should we avoid?
Um, there's no recipe one. There's no recipe one. How should I say that? Uh, the concept, the step, or the process flow, the workflow is kind of standard. You need to as long as you follow all these practices, right, then you are in a good direction. That's one. But like to directly saying that the you use all this, then you for sure your model is safe. You will be getting the best model. That won't be the case, because and also because that even though like just now we have the model created, right, a lot of things, right, especially if you are using a lot of data and a lot of features, right, the model generator, right, is again it's actually a black box, and you don't know how it's picking up different features and doing the correlation between and all to come up with this model. So there's no direct recipes to say you pick this, then you will assess. That's why also the data scientist job is kind of challenging and fun in this way lah. You won't know the answer if you don't do it, and you have to do a lot to keep on trying new different methods, different algo, different data, and different features to get the best out of it. So the I can only say that need to do the you need to know your data very well. That's very important. And also all this missing value and all value data and all the data pre-processing part, right, is also very important, because if you don't use the accurate data, like avoid all these missing values and all, right, for sure you will be getting a bad model already. I'm not saying that 30%, but if let's say you don't do all this data cleanup and all, you're doing different things, right, you won't get there's a recipe for a bad model. I cannot give a recipe for a good model, but these are the steps that you need to avoid. You need to spend a lot of time understanding your data and trying to see always go back to your objective. If you are doing the prediction, and let's say for the sales just now, right, is the what are the features that could be impacting? Is it, let's say, if it's maybe the salary or some other things? Is gender also influencing the purchase is power or not? All these things you need to try out. And again, there's no one answer for all. It's really depends on the scenario and the use cases. Different country, different let's say different website, it could have different end users. So maybe let's say this website, a lot of them are from there is a distinguished purchase trend between female and male, the gender, but some other website or some other scenario that could be not there. So again, you wouldn't know it. You have to do a lot of experiments and hands-on to find out what is inside your data.
Yep, agree. We need to find like what the data is, and also to see
Correct.
what algorithms are good for the data set, and to see lah. Yeah. Okay. The next question asked is by Alien Workshop, asked previously. From ML, how do we handle these models and translate them?
Yeah, this is the most challenging part. Also, there's a lot of I think it started quite a few years back already. There's a branch of all this AI or ML, called it explainable AI. So it's again a very big research area that people are trying to do a better interpretation of the model. How well it is doing, what is causing the trends, or the model is doing all this prediction. If you are from academic and all, this could be a new area that you can try to study more, But if let's say it's just like a ML practitioner and like all these ML engineer or data scientists, right? The few things that I can directly think of is that to translate or to interpret your model, right? again back to the basic things. You need to know the objective on your data, what you are trying to achieve, and what are the data that you use, and what are the features that you are using. And then from all this, you can do during the model evaluation and all, right. Let's say you have just now we use the from the beginning 2016 June or August data from 2017 June data, right? Then during the evaluation that time, the new data that's not in, how different it is compared to your model being trained. And then from there, you try to do interpretation from there. If are they giving the similar trend or something you don't really understand, and you think that it's not it's kind of questionable and all, then you may need to explore more. What I normally do is this is not really how to say not really it's a good practice, but not many people are doing in this. Is somehow you have to reach a point that you know your data and model well enough, right? Whenever things, let's say the prediction, right, the new data comes in, right, you kind of can guess or have a gut feeling like this one will give you a prediction of 0 or 1, or let's say something similar. Like if image is cat or dog, or you will be giving the similar prediction as you have in mind. Then from there, if you can more or less reach this stage, right, then you are very, you know your data very well and your model very well. Although you cannot put it in formulas or explanation in text on how it works, but you somehow just know that your model will give you this or not, and things like that. Because you same things are as the machine learn, and also you are trying to learn also, right? You already can see some of the patterns already on. Yeah, this part you have to also try a lot, and also try to how to say cross check your prediction and the model prediction. Are they giving the same prediction result or not? But this part is it's very difficult one. This part is still something that a lot of researchers are trying to work on, explainable AI. Hopefully, we have better tools and things that can give a better prediction. I think there are some quick labs exercise on the what if tool and also the explainable AI. You can try all these quick labs, and maybe you can have a better insights on that part also.
Yeah. Thanks, Lai Fong, for the answer to that question. So that's all the questions that we have. There's one question about GCP Bole, whether or not, let me find it. What's the estimated time needed to complete GCP Bole quests? Can an absolute newbie finish in 4 days? So we'll take this as the last question for today. Yeah.
Absolutely newbie. I would say you will need to spend a lot of time. A few things. You need to get familiar with all this GCP interface, where to find all this menu or click which button and all. That one, and you need to get familiarized. So maybe once as you go work on different more labs, right? You directly know where to click, and all the arrows and all what does it mean and all already. But for total newbie, let's not put it so ambitious. Just set your target a little bit lower. If you are fully available for the whole day, right? Try to see how many quests or labs you can finish in one day, then you can know how many you can finish in 4 days. I don't think for except 4 days but the minimum for the straight is 6 cannot you need to do one one day you need to do more than one quest. One quest got 5-6 laps. Yeah, one lap is maybe 1 hour, and if that one is you can complete in time. If you don't or have no errors or difficulty in some part, you are stuck and all, then you have to rework. Then you need to spend a lot extra time. Let's not so ambitious. Try to achieve, let's say, one quest for your own benefits. But then maybe for next round, next year, you aim for the strat lah. One quest also is an achievement for newbie. But for the quest, right, important thing is strat is one thing, but I think also important is what you gain in your knowledge, new skills and all, right. Try to focus on what you can gain in the knowledge and skills that part. Strat next year we will have GCP Boleh season 5, right, Melissa?
Yep. Yeah, I think because I think the question was asked because the GCP Boleh challenge is ending in 4 days, as in like for the time to complete the quest for the swag, right? So I think try your best. We encourage you to really participate and do the quest, but make sure also that you are able to learn and not just finish the quest in such a short time and not be able to absorb the information. Yeah. With
I
that
can
being,
sorry,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just try a little bit more here. I can give a few tips, but then if you really aim for the strat, right, if you are still new and learning, right, try to check on the quest that don't have the challenge lab. The challenge lab is something that is require more understanding one. There won't be steps or for you to copy paste one. You need to know how to achieve all these different tasks. So that one will be very, very challenging for you. So if you are very beginner and you want to have achieve more in a minimal time and for the strat purpose, right? Try to look at the quest that don't have the challenge in lab. That's one thing. And also, if you not sure if you how far you are in, if let's say quest one you have, let's say getting started with ML query, then there's some other quest two, some other name, maybe in the lab 5 they also have this sim introduction to BigQuery ML. If you complete one lab in any of these quests, right, the next lab, the second lab, the second quest lab will be also marked as completed one. So if you find posts that have more overlaps, right, then you are reducing your time need to complete the number of labs for you to get the quest completed. These are some small tips, but newbie try to learn, and also you can get the 1 month unlimited access, not for the strat, but you try to optimize your learning journey during the 1 month period.
Yeah, thanks, Fong, for the tips for newbies in this chat. So yeah, that's about all the questions we have in the chat today. So previously, someone mentioned about GCP Boleh for ML in the chat. So just to reiterate, actually GCP Boleh is not only for ML. We have 2 tracks actually. One is for the AI ML track, which is one of our quests we did today was in this track, which is BigQuery create ML models with BigQuery ML quest. There's also another track for cloud technology. So yeah, feel free to explore the different quests and like Fong mentioned just now, see what you can complete by if you want to score the cool swag pack. Yep. So
All the
before we end,
best.
yeah, all the best, guys. You guys can do it. And before we end, let me just give a reminder to everyone here that we have our GCP Boleh challenge today. This was the purpose of this event to help you guys get started on one of the events, one of the quests, which is the BigQuery ML quest. And if you haven't registered for the GCP Boleh Challenge, do register. And if you do register, you actually get 1 month of free access to the Google Cloud Skills Boost platform. And you'll be able to get a very cool swag pack if you complete at least 6 quests before 26 June, which is this Sunday. So you have approximately 4 days to complete all 6 quests, at least 6 quests before Sunday to get a very cool swag pack. So I will put the registration link in the chat so that you guys can go ahead and register. Give me a short moment to do that. Yeah, I believe it's been posted to the live chat. So go ahead and register for the challenge if you have not registered. And again, for today's live, this live is recorded, so you're able to rewatch today's live for your learning. So feel free to replay, slow down, increase the speed while you revise for this specific quest that we did today. Yeah. So looks like we have come to an end. So we would like to say thank you to our speaker, Fong, for answering all the questions and for bringing us to a code along for today's quest. And we would like to thank the audience here today for amazing questions that you've put into the chat, as well as coming along for this code along and finishing our lab for one of the labs for today's quest. So yep, thank you all. And this is the end of the event, and we are officially closing the event now. Thanks everyone, and see you guys very, very soon.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Continue working. GCP boleh. Bye-bye.
Yes, GCP boleh. Bye everyone.